Hurricane Sandy has devastated countless lives and communities in the Northeast. The damage is said to have launched the largest relief effort in the U.S. since Katrina. 3 days after Sandy slammed the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, New York and New Jersey struggled to get back on their feet. The U.S. death toll climbed to more than 80, and more than 4.6 million homes and businesses were still without power. The 8 states affected by Sandy were Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. Connecticut is a state with a densely populated coast which was hit hard. Connecticut experienced widespread power loss as well as severe flooding in the areas. Governor Dannell Malloy issued a statement Monday night that urged those residents who were not among the hundreds of thousands already evacuated to move to higher ground and described his own warning as Katrina-like. Connecticut was not hit nearly as hard as New York or New Jersey. Delaware. Most coastal and low-lying areas in the tiny state of Delaware have been affected by the storm, and Governor Jack Marshall issued a mandatory evacuation on November 5th that lasted until November 6th. On the evening of November 6th, the mandatory evacuation in Kent County and Newcastle County were lifted, while the order for areas in the heavily flooded Sussex County remained in effect as officials feared that high tide could bring renewed danger. Maryland, the especially hard-hit resort town of Ocean City, Maryland, where a mandatory evacuation was put in place. An unfortunate incident happened in which the city lost its main fishing pier, even as Sandy remained hundreds of miles away. Over 200,000 Marylanders had no power as of 6 p.m. on November the 6th. The Maryland Transit Administration planned to resume service November 7th, with many commuter rails running with limited service. New Jersey. Hurricane Sandy first made landfall in the Garden State, and consequently, the state was the hardest hit. Atlantic City was covered by floodwaters well before Sandy hit land, and on November 6th, it became clear that the resort town had endured heavy damage. Notably, the city's historic boardwalk was partially washed away. Over 2 million people had no power, and many remained unsure when service would be restored. Some towns like Jersey City remained almost totally black. New York. Much of Sandy's havoc in New York was centered in New York City, where floodwaters seeped into low-lying areas in all the city's boroughs and left 750,000 people without power, and in the actual state of New York, 2 million people did not have power. Lower Manhattan was particularly affected, and power was lost in and around the city's financial district, where trading was suspended on the New York Stock Exchange floor November 5th and 6th. North Carolina. Though the storm never landed in North Carolina's barrier islands known as the Outer Banks, Sandy did damage many homes and threatened many more with encroaching seawaters. The main artery to and from the mainland, NC Highway 12, was also severely damaged, cutting the resort villages off from the rest of the state. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the only state on the list without an Atlantic coastline, but that doesn't mean that Sandy didn't punch the Keystone State. Situated along the border of New Jersey, which took the majority of Sandy's landfall, Philadelphia woke up hating November 6th. Nearly 1.3 million households were out of power, many of them in the state's largest city. Rhode Island. The main hurricane wall in Providence fully withstood Sandy's storm surge and was reopened Tuesday. However, even as waters and winds receded, over 90,000 customers endured power outages as of November 6th. My thoughts and prayers go out to those whose lives were lost.